Awesome. Well, today's class is social media influencer. This is really, really special to me because I think a lot of times when we think about social media influencer, it seems like a very daunting task, or one that in order to utilize social media for our real estate business, that when we think of the word influencer, we think that we need thousands and thousands and thousands of followers in order to really have an impact. What I'm here to show you today is that's just not the case. I, very much so in the last 14 years that I've been licensed, have built my business utilizing social media. And I'm not by any means do I have this massive audience of thousands or millions of people, but I have the right people as my audience. And that's the ones that I engage with on a regular basis and have been able to build my business. So as we get started here, I'm just curious. And if you guys want to speak up or put it in the chat, what social media platforms do you use right now for your business? If you want to put it in the chat or speak up. Anybody using social media? Rakita, I see that your video is not connecting. No worries. Sometimes if you log out and log back in, it'll help fix the problem.
I really don't use Instagram for my business at all, though. I use both Instagram and Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok, but Facebook's my primary for anything business related.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. So you said Snapchat and TikTok and Instagram were the others?
Correct.
Great. Have you gotten business in using those other platforms?
I only use Facebook for business, but I mean, I use also all forms of social media, basically.
Okay, fantastic. So the other ones are more personal and Facebook for business. Got it. Awesome. Anyone else? Great. Great stuff. So just a little bit about me. I'm a second generation real estate investor. As a matter of fact, I'm really excited for the class that's coming up on this Wednesday. We have Real Estate Investing 101, where I share with you guys how we turned our initial $25,000 real estate investment into a multi-million-dollar portfolio in less than 5 years. I'm a real estate agent as well, but like I said, I was a real estate agent or investor first, but I've been a licensed real estate agent for 14 years. I'm a broker associate with EXP. I joined them back when they were only 300 agents. Co-owner of OKC Home Investments, where with my husband, where we have flipped hundreds of homes, anything from single family to commercial to strip centers to apartments to restaurants. We were talking about this a little bit offline right before this. And master lead generator. So I've got about 8 agents on my production team that we lead generate leads all over the state of Oklahoma. And of course, pass those off in kind of a non-traditional team way. And then many of you, I'm just juggling personal and professional life, married and mother of 2 wonderful boys. So quick disclaimer is everything that I'm going to go over today is pretty generic, definitely things that you can apply to your business, but also keep in mind that you want to check with any local guidelines as well as with your managing broker, because every company and every brokerage has different company policies. So with that said, step number 1, as we get started here, is we need an action plan. So we all know that you don't have a business without the constant flow of new relationships, nurturing current leads, and staying top of mind with past clients, the 3x3. If you attended my classes last week, we talked about the 3x3 in a lot more depth, but when you look at your day and how kind of your day is structured, you always want to be focusing on what we call the IPAs, income producing activities. And in order to be focusing on the IPAs, especially in real estate, we have to be working on our prospects. And so our prospecting, because branding and marketing through social media is going to be great. But as you guys have heard me say before, it's like throwing a dart at the wall and hoping that it sticks. Whereas outbound prospecting is where you control the relationships. Now, outbound prospecting doesn't have to be just cold calling. It doesn't have to be just door knocking. It can also just mean staying top of mind, utilizing social media the right way. The reason why I say the right way is how many of you, and I'm sure, if I turn the cameras on, I'm sure everybody's hand's going to go up, find that social media can be a complete distraction. And so it's really hard to make it part of your business plan because it's easy to get distracted. And that's why it's important now more than ever with all the different social media platforms that we stay intentional when we're utilizing social media. So I want to start here with the lead generation bucket. So I have a lead generation bucket worksheet. You guys heard me mention this in the business planning class, that you should have 4 lead generation buckets for your business. In my opinion, no more and no less. The reason why I say no more is because when you start to have too many things, too many shiny objects, and we get distracted and we stop becoming intentional in our business. The reason you shouldn't have less is because you do want to kind of diversify. So just curious, if you want to open up your mic, or you can put in the chat, does anybody know, maybe you've attended some of my past classes, what your lead generation buckets are? Okay, so I'll give you guys some examples. And in one of the classes we talked about last week, if you don't have any idea of what would be a good lead generation bucket, I definitely recommend one of my good friend, Jean Frederick, has a book out. It's 101 Ways to Lead Generate. And it shares with you all these different ideas and almost shows you that there's no lack of ways to lead generate. But here's some different ideas that you can kind of take away with this is, if we're looking at social media, I think Kenneth just mentioned he uses Facebook. So he's being very specific that Facebook is for his business. And then he had Snapchat, TikTok, and Instagram for his personal life. So Facebook, I would put that in one of the 4 lead generation buckets, and then I would tie to it a strategy. How am I going to use Facebook to grow my audience, to grow my business? Some other more traditional methods would be open houses. Let's say you're going to commit to 2 open houses per week. Door knocking, you're going to go door knocking before your open house, or maybe you're going to go door knocking, or maybe you enjoy cold calling and you're going to call for sale by owners or expireds. So when I talk about 4 lead generation buckets, it could even be networking. How are you going to be in front of people, outbound prospecting every single day? And so when you have your business plan in front of you on your workspace every day, and you have those 4 lead generation buckets laid out, now you know what activities you should be doing every single day. The reason it's important to not just have your bucket, but also tie it to a strategy is also, again, when it comes to social media, it's easy to get distracted. So think about, okay, if Facebook is going to be one of my 4 lead generation buckets, what's going to be my strategy? If you guys took my lead generation class last week, we had a daily strategy, a weekly strategy, posting in Facebook groups, posting on Marketplace, commenting and posting on your sphere of influence, in your sphere of power, and really having those designated as a custom friends list. So that way you're not having to scroll through your news feed in order to reach out to the people that you want to be intentional with. So any questions around your lead generation buckets before we kind of move on from this? I see referral, Facebook, SOI, social media, farming. Awesome. All right, good stuff. Now, 90-day habit tracker. So again, these are all forms. If you guys want to put your email in the chat, I'd be happy to share this presentation with you after the class. And these will just be links to the forms that you can download, or we can attach it to the email. So if you want these, go ahead and put your email in the chat. Here's the 90-day habit tracker. So let's say you're like, okay, I know that I need 4 lead generation buckets, but I have 0 right now. I just got started, or maybe I haven't been intentional and I don't have anything yet. So we don't want to introduce 4 all at the same time. I would introduce 1 or 2 at a time. We're lucky that real estate doesn't really operate in a 365-day year. We operate in a 90-day cycle. And so with that said, I would say, okay, my new habit is blank. I'm going to utilize Facebook, or my new habit's going to be adding 2 open houses per month, whatever it is. And you're going to have a start date and a completion date. What you're doing right now in your business is contingent really upon the efforts that you did or didn't do 90 days ago. So if an agent comes to me right now and says, I don't have any business, I'm like, okay, today's, we're in July. What were you doing in April and May to build your business for July? I'm like, oh, well, I took off, or I didn't do anything. I didn't have any continuous prospecting activities. So again, the efforts that you are doing today are going to benefit you now into the last quarter of this year, looking into September. So take this 90-day cycle, create a new habit or a lead generation bucket if you don't have any yet, introduce 1 or 2 at a time, put your start date, put your end date, Put this on your refrigerator if you have to, and just check off every single day that you do it. I know that it sounds silly, but I promise you this visual will be incredibly important. And even if you get your family or roommates or whoever you have involved and just really hold you accountable. So few things to get started with here. And then you guys have also heard me talk about ideal client. Who is your ideal client? Is it a first-time home buyer? Is it working with a real estate investor? Is it somebody that's looking to upgrade their home because they're expanding their family? Is it somebody that may be retiring and downsizing their home, or somebody relocating from a certain area or a certain state or a certain business? Who's your ideal client? The reason why having this all filled out is really, really important, especially when it comes to marketing and social media, is when you start choosing your lead generation buckets and you start choosing what social media platforms you're going to be on, it's not necessarily just what social media platforms do I enjoy to be on, but what social media platforms are my ideal client on, right? So if it's a first-time home buyer, maybe I'm looking at Snapchat, or maybe I'm looking at TikTok or Instagram. If it's really my sphere, maybe I can stay better in touch with them using Facebook. Or if I'm looking at people relocating from a certain market or a certain business, then I might look at LinkedIn, for example. So again, it's not just what social media platforms we want to be on, but who is our ideal client? And then more importantly, what time of days are they on? There's different ways that I'll show you that you can kind of track those insights. So what is the best social media platform? There's so many out there, so we don't have to be on all of them. The best one is going to be the one that honestly you can commit to and that you're going to use. So if you enjoy it, great. And it's also the one that your ideal client is on. Commit to no more than 3 or 4. Being on too many platforms will create a distraction. I personally recommend Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Facebook and Instagram are pretty easy because they're linked since they're both owned together. And then of course, YouTube and Google are also owned together. So those are pretty easy to kind of simultaneously put out content. And then of course, LinkedIn is really like a digital Rolodex, if you will. I mean, anytime I almost guarantee you, if everybody goes to Google right now and searches their name, their LinkedIn profile is going to be one of the top searches. So it always hits the search engine toward the top. Now expanding, yes.
Can I ask you a question? YouTube,
Sure.
what's the demographic? Did you have any idea what the demographic is, the main demographic on YouTube?
That's a good question. You know, I will actually make note of that and I'll try to see if we have any answers for that during the break.
Okay.
Here's what I use YouTube for, and this is just kind of my personal take. And again, it doesn't go to needing thousands of views or going viral or anything like that. But I know for somebody, when they are interested in working with me, whether it's a buyer or seller or an agent looking to, work with our group, one of the first things that they go do every single time is Google my name. And of course, Google is tied to YouTube. And so if you don't have any content out there in terms of your website, in terms of YouTube, video content, etc., what are they going to think? So it's really about branding and marketing as well. Obviously, we want to be doing outbound prospecting. That's where the lead generation buckets come into place. But you also have to think about branding and marketing. How am I showing up online? If somebody goes and Googles you right now, let's just ask ourselves, or maybe somebody wants to share, how are you showing up? Did that answer your question? I mean, of course, I'll look and see if there's a specific demographic, but think about it, not just in terms of demographic, but also how are you showing up to somebody that's trying to find out more information on you?
The first one I have is realtor.com, and then there's Facebook, HomeSnap, Zillow, Compass, and then LinkedIn.
Awesome. So LinkedIn was in the top 10, it sounds like, which it usually is. Yeah, I would argue that LinkedIn a lot of times is usually in the top 5. So that's why it's important to at least have your LinkedIn profile built out. Thank you, Kenneth. Anybody else? Okay, looks like everybody's put their email. Just a reminder, if you didn't already, put your name, your license number in the chat to get CE credit, as well as if you'd like a copy of this presentation and the worksheets, put your email and we'll send as always after the class. So when you're looking at who your ideal client is, step number one, determine who your ideal client is. If you have no idea, A lot of times you can just look at your past business, where it's come from, and organically see who your ideal client is. Once you know who that is, then you try to figure out what problem do they have, and then how do you solve that for them? This is really marketing 101. So ideal client, what problem do they have and how can you solve that? So I'll use first-time home buyers as an example. First-time home buyers, you guys actually throw it at me before I give you my example. What are some problems that first-time home buyers would have?
Mortgages.
Mortgages, okay, maybe working on their credit, things like that.
Trying to determine what they're really looking for and what they can afford.
Okay, affordability, great. What else? So let's think about this. If I want to work for a first-time home buyer, with a first-time home buyer rather, one of the things that I would imagine is, just like Liz said, affordability, mortgage, maybe they need to work on some credit repair, but also understanding the home buying process. That's where I can come in and solve that problem. Maybe I offer some free workshops, or I create a how-to guide or an ebook or a series of videos of what that home buying process is, because sometimes it can sound very daunting. And then all of a sudden they're not even considering it because it sounds like it's too big, right? I'll give you an example. One of my agent partners called me on Friday and she was so excited because she's doing her third 1031 tax exchange. And I had given her my 1031 tax consultant. And she's like, Micah, I've always been so scared to do a 1031 tax exchange because it seems so intimidating, right? You have to keep up with all these different timelines and you have all this criteria that you have to meet. But the consultant that we use, the intermediary, makes it so easy. He has email blasts that go out immediately and tells you exactly what you need to do, and then reminds you of the exact dates that you need to do the things within the time frame. So he knew what that problem was in terms of making it intimidating, and how can he simplify that. And that's probably why he's one of the best intermediaries and he works all over the country. So thinking about that, who's your ideal client? What problem do they specifically have? Try to imagine yourselves in their shoes. And then what problem do you solve for them? Does anybody want to share any feedback on that?
Hey, Micah.
Yes.
Yeah, I would like to share what I do with the first-time home buyers. I usually like to schedule a Zoom call with them, not meeting in person, because I can share my screen and set up the search for them. And throughout the process, within 40 minutes, I go over the pre-approval letter and I set their expectations that it's overwhelming to give submit all these paperworks to the lender and all that. So this way they'll be prepared, like mentally, they have their expectations. It's not going to be like just a click of a button. We call the lender, we get pre-approved. So
I love that, Tony. And thank you so much for saying that. I mean, I think especially after COVID, a lot of us like this call today, we got used to Zoom. So I think being able to kind of streamline it and do it on Zoom is a lot easier. So what essentially, Tony's talking about is a buyer consultation and getting to know the clients, getting to know their needs and wants, setting up their expectations if they're getting a loan, and then also understanding the process, right? When I was doing buyer consultations in the past, I would always outline what the entire process would be. And I would say, listen, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, I'm not expecting you to memorize any of this right now. I'm going to remind you step by step as we go along, but I want you to also understand from a broad overview what the process is right now. The reason why that's important is I've actually been on cross deals where the buyer doesn't even know what earnest money is, right? And so that's the conversation that really any good agent during their buyer consultation should have up front is, okay, once we contract on a home, we're going to agree to an earnest money deposit. You're going to write a check. It's going to go to, the listing agent's escrow or title company or however you do it. And so they know they're expecting that up front. So hopefully that makes sense. Thank you so much, Tony, for sharing. So lead with value. So Tony is leading with value before they ever commit to working with him. Here's my process. We're going to set a 30-minute Zoom. I'm going to walk you through the process. We're going to set you up on a custom MLS search so you're not having to browse thousands of real estate websites and get hounded by a million other agents. And during the process, I'm also going to connect you with some of our preferred lenders so you can start that process as well. It's not going to be easy, but I'm here to help guide you through every step of the way. Notice I said the word guide, right? You're here to guide them. That's what we are. We're real estate agents, but we're also guiding them through one of the biggest transactions of their lives. So we talked about demographics. Who's the demographics of your ideal client? What social media platforms are they on? As Liz mentioned, I'm going to see if I can find anything for you specific for YouTube. And then mix personal and professional posts. I put this on here because looking at, let's take Facebook, for example. So Facebook is really designed that you should have a personal page and then you should have a business page. And really you have to have a business page if you're going to be paying to play. If you're going to be doing any kind of Facebook advertising, you have to have a business page. But I would really recommend kind of sprinkling in some things on your personal page as well. Do be mindful not to put too much business activity on your personal page because Facebook could shut that down because it is meant to be personal. But I think it's important for people, if you kind of document your life or even take a screenshot, take a selfie right now that you're taking this class and you're sharpening your skills. When people see all these different things, they want to see the authenticity. They want to see the 360 view of you. And that's how you build rapport both online and offline. That's one of the best things that you can do with social media. I meet people all the time. They know how many kids I have. They know about my family. They know the travels that I've taken because I post about it and then they connect with me. Maybe they have kids as well. Maybe their kids are similar ages and they automatically connect because I'm so transparent online. So I know some of you right now may be reluctant. You don't want to post anything personal on social media. I absolutely get it. My just recommendation is think about how can you show a 360 view that shows all sides of you and not just the business side. So that allows you to let your clients get to know you, which is going to help build trust and rapport. As Grant Cardone says, people give in to the person they see the most. He also says the difference between a contact and a contract is the R, which stands for relationships and rapport. So people give in to the person they see the most, right? So when you think about owning mind share, that's how you're going to own market share. How can you constantly be staying top of mind? Now, what's your marketing plan? Content that, number one, educates, number two, entertains, and then number three, makes people think or laugh or add some type of value to them. So think about these different buckets. When you post something on social media, and I would challenge you to really do a mix of posts. You should have some text only post, some polls, some image, some video. But ask yourself before you press send or publish, does it either educate, entertain, make people think or laugh, or add some type of value? If it doesn't, then you might not post it. So just a few ideas here is in terms of what you can post. Make it personal. You make it easy to contact. Right. So I always say we don't want to be the secret agent, but a lot of times I look at social media and it's so hard to even find their contact information. I should be able to find your contact information in less than 3 clicks. So I want everybody just to take in a minute or two right now and go to your social media accounts, whatever social media platform you're using, and do a self audit. And I want to see your results. Either open up your mic or put in the chat, do a self audit. Are you being a secret agent, or is it easy for people to contact you? Is it easy for people to find out your name, what company you're affiliated with, your phone number, maybe your website? Let's take 2 minutes and do a quick self audit and then share our results.
I mean, whenever I open mine, it obviously shows that I work for luxury. Scroll down, you have my city where I'm at, phone number, email address. So it's pretty obvious there.
I love it. Thank you so much, Kenneth. And I say this because obviously I reach out to real estate agents all the time. And if I have to dig through your social media to find a phone number or to find what company you're with, or to find a website link, then the chances of a buyer and seller doing that is pretty slim to none, right? So it's always good for us to take time and do a self audit on ourselves. Who else wants to share? We're gonna give another minute or two. Liz said it's
I've
easy
got-
to contact. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
repeat.
mine's available just on a quick scroll at the, phone number, website, email address. It's just, one swipe up from the top. So it looks pretty good.
Okay, awesome. While you guys are doing this, one other thing that I would recommend is using the same profile picture, ideally like a headshot or some professional photo across all social media platforms. So I changed mine years ago. I used to have a different picture on Instagram from a different one on LinkedIn, a different one on Facebook. It's important to have the same photo for consistency across all social media platforms that you're on, so you're easily identifiable. Who else wants to share their results from their self-audit?
Hey, Micah.
Yes.
Yeah, I just posted, I have my business card on the background, the picture profile, my business. So that has all my information in there. So I don't know if that's a good idea or not. And the logo on the profile picture itself, and that's the business account on Facebook.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. The other thing that I would recommend is most social media platforms allow you to have some type of bio. Some are going to be longer than others, but if you have on your bio, like a link to your website or your phone number or a landing page or something, that way, if they're looking from their phone, they can just click it. So let me give you guys an example. Actually, let me pull up my Facebook. Okay, so this is the bio that I'm talking about. So just a brief overview on what you do. Like I said, you can put this on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. I mean, most of them have one, but some of them just vary in the amount of characters. And then what happens is even if somebody's from their phone, they can easily click on the website. Maybe my internet's going to be a little bit slow today. Well, for the sake of time, I don't want to bore you guys while my internet's being slow. But anyway, it goes to my website, and then from there, they can do a direct call. So just kind of food for thought. I think that's great to have it on your banner, but I would also have it in that little bio link. Anybody else? Good stuff. All right, so easy to contact. We talked about that. Think people don't care, think again. So I get asked this question all the time. Why would I post? Nobody's liking my post. Nobody's even watching. It's absolutely far from the truth. As long as you have followers, then people are looking. What I find is a lot of times people don't necessarily engage with the post, meaning they're not liking, commenting, or sharing, but they've seen it, and that's what's important. Also, we talked about mixing personal and professional. Share your story because people want to connect with you. Being authentic and sharing real life events, the good and the bad and the ugly and your travels and everything else, that's how people build rapport and connect with you. The best marketer wins. I have this in here because a lot of us think that we're in the real estate space, but the reality is we are in real estate marketing as well. So the best marketer is always going to win. And then think about the blue ocean strategy. This is the book I have here on the right. I highly, highly recommend it. It's really talking about in creating an uncontested market space. So instead of swimming with all the other little fish in the reef, think about how you can create your ideal client, know what problem you solve for them, and then really create a space that you're not having any competition and you're swimming in the deep blue sea with the sharks, right? Video is huge. Definitely encourage you to start engaging more video. A lot of people tend to hide behind, text or images, but in this day and age, especially with Facebook Reels and Instagram Reels and TikTok and everything else, video is key, and short-term content, short form content, not term, is key. Add fun music to your Facebook and Instagram stories. I was actually reading with my team the book this morning, The Conversion Code by Chris Smith. I highly recommend it. There's a second generation edition book out right now. And he talked about creating a series of Instagram stories, but starting it with a poll. So starting it with a poll increases the chance of them clicking through your other stories. Now, is everybody familiar with the difference between a Facebook, Instagram story versus a post? Does anybody not know what the difference is? Okay, good. So essentially, stories only up there for 24 hours. It's not a post, it's not living on your website because it does automatically delete after 24 hours. One of the things that I like about stories is the fact that you can see who has looked at them. So I consistently look at who's looked at my stories because I know who's clicking through and who's starting to engage with my content. We talked about don't be a secret agent. And of course, one of the ways that you can do that is tag your sphere of power. We talked about in one of the previous classes that your sphere of power is a difference of sphere of influence. Sphere of influence are your friends, family, those closest to you, which can be very wide and broad. Sphere of power is really quality over quantity, and creating 10 personal cheerleaders. These are people, when they hear about real estate, they think of nobody else but yourself. And so by tagging them, you're also allowing your content, something of course of value, you don't want to tag them just in anything and everything, is now hopefully being published for their audiences to see as well. So definitely using tags are a great way to expand your audience. Inspire others, be relatable, be uplifting, positive, be real, show your human side. These are all real things that people love to see this type of content. Often if I find something that's uplifting or positive on TikTok, I'll go and share it to my Instagram stories. And the amount of engagement is unreal. Fill in the blank, polls, adding music, adding word swag, all those type of things are going to help build your engagement. So I want to ask, what are some of the things that you guys are using right now on social media to really inspire others and be relatable? Don't be shy. I promise I don't bite. Let me see if anybody's put anything on the chat here. Random surveys. Liz, do you mind giving an example of a survey?
Yeah, I kind of used your advice the other day and did a post out to ask how many states everybody had lived in, and that just really started some conversations. And I got like 60 answers within an hour. And that just kind of engaged people that I know kind of watch my stuff, but I never pull them in. So I kind of think the algorithm, if they respond to your posts, then they're going to start seeing your stuff on Facebook. Is that correct?
Yeah, so that's one of the reasons to do that, is to help build the engagement. So, obviously they've commented, but then also go like and comment back to them to help continue that engagement. And
Okay.
strategically, what I would do is maybe the next day or the same day later in the day, you could do something a little bit more business oriented or something that they're going to see, right? Or maybe you have a video that you're, is ready to upload or something like that. So I love that. Out of curiosity, Liz, have you ever had that many comments on a post in that short amount of time?
Yes. Yeah, I'm just some weird travel stuff that I do, but I did that specifically because I was gonna hopefully get the new listing the next day, which I did. So I just figured it brought a lot more people to be able to view it. If I'm reading, I don't know much about all that algorithm stuff, but it just kind of made sense to me, and it kind of popped up my new listing videos. Views is kind of what it appeared to me.
I love it. That's awesome. Can you repeat the question for those that weren't on the class last week that you had asked on social media?
I asked everybody how many states they'd lived in or how many countries. And I mean, it was pretty instantaneous. And with a lot of people I knew were out there, but they don't pay attention. They're more voyeurs on Facebook, I think, than usual. So we have all of those kind of things. And I did that specifically for my listing, and I think it helped. It, kind of does it put you at the top of their view when they respond to you and you respond back to them? Is that how that works?
Yeah, it definitely gets more eyeballs. I mean, there's no exact formula in terms of like being on the top of their feed, but the more engagement is going to help get you in on their feed more often.
Okay, okay.
So I like how you did that right before you listed. So that was really smart. Here's one of the things. So Liz mentioned that she asked, how many states or countries have you lived in? You could ask another simple question like, how old were you when you purchased your first home? The reason why there's more engagement in these type of questions is because there's really no thought that has to go into answering the question, right? So if people can answer something very simple, easy, and then move on, because we all know that we have the microwave mentality. And unfortunately, these short form contents like Reels and TikTok and things like that are making us want things and information faster now than ever. So we have about 8 seconds to grab their attention. And that's what the microwave mentality is. So we have 8 seconds. So we don't want to really ask a very thought-provoking question, but something simple like, how many states have you lived in? How old were you when you bought your first home? Or even a simple, like when we look at a poll, you could literally do an Instagram story or a Facebook story and put 2 different types of kitchens or 2 different types of houses and say, which one do you like better, A or B? And just that engagement, people like to click things and engage. And then what happens is they'll start clicking through your other posts or your other stories and start engaging with your other content. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing, Liz. Anybody else want to share the results from last week?
I think I had like 75 comments and probably 25 likes at least from that comment. And I did the how old were you whenever you bought your first home?
How old were you when you bought your first home? Is that the one you said?
Correct, yeah.
That's awesome. Out of curiosity, do you remember what kind of the average age range was?
It was kind of all over. I was 19 when I bought my first house. So there were quite a few of those that were 18, 20, somewhere in there. Quite a few that were in their late 30s and like right at 40. So it was kind of split, really.
That's awesome. Well, one of the things, just kind of thinking and looking at your specific audience, you can do is try to figure out if there's an average age range of your specific, Facebook audience, or even, simple questions of what do you want in your next home? Right. And then that will just strike up the conversation that you can start having private conversations with people.
I had one guy that was like, I bought my first investment property at 18, and I did engage with him on like if he was still expanding his portfolio and then like where he bought and things like that. So
Awesome. Love it. Great. Anybody else want to share? All good stuff. I promise you it works. So kind of continuing on the marketing approach, here's some different ways that you can add value is local giveaways. Build an ebook or a how-to guide or a checklist, resource list, webinar training. As Tony mentioned earlier, he's doing a buyer consultation for his first-time home buyers. Or you can even do like a simple little quiz and you can do that using Google Forms, which is you just simply Google Forms and it comes up. They're pretty easy to make and they're free. Facebook is the new Google. So we talked about the difference between personal versus business page. You can also, what's interesting over time, especially if you're working at a CRM, then you can create what Facebook calls a lookalike audience. So if you start to have all these different leads into your CRM, you can actually upload that list into Facebook and create a lookalike audience, which basically allows Facebook to start looking for similar audiences based on the data that you've already given it. And then I'm a firm believer of Facebook Marketplace as well. We talked about this in last week's class, as you can post in Facebook groups and Marketplace. Even if you don't have any listings right now, definitely check with your broker. Every MLS is different, but in my MLS, if you have the seller's permission or the broker or the listing agent's permission, then you can share other people's listings with the correct IDX feed. And so that allows us to be able to share like 10 listings a day and not even have to have 10 listings, but we can now share them on Craigslist, Facebook groups, Marketplace, you name it. Sharing is caring. We have the social Powerball. This is essentially what I call the social Powerball is when you get a group of your affiliates together. Let's say, for example, your lender, your insurance agent, your title rep, whomever, and put them maybe in a private WhatsApp group or private Facebook group and commit to sharing each other's content. That way you're expanding, again, you're expanding your audiences. So if I share something, or maybe my lender shares something about mortgage rates, then I go and share it public to my profile, and we just kind of tag team and tag each other. Rebumping old posts. If you have a specific post that's did really well, let's say a year ago, because even Facebook, you can go back and look at your old post, find something that's done well before and just go and comment on it and say, hey, I was just looking through these. I loved all the responses. Thank you guys so much for taking time to engage. What that's going to allow Facebook to do is kind of bump up, it's what we call rebumping, that old post to where it's going to be seen again. So if you've ever been on your social media platform or Facebook specifically, and you've seen a post from 2021 or 2022, and you're like, this is not new. Why is this on here? If you go to the comments, it's most likely because somebody has rebumped commenting on an old post. Also, you can target specific groups. So I was working with an agent in Maryland last week, and he was like, oh, there's not any for sale by owner, or for sale, homes for sale groups on Facebook. I work in a small market. And I said, okay, well, then go and admin those and create value, share local businesses, local giveaways, content where people want to join those groups. Or if there's already a bunch of groups in your area, then target those specific groups and just start adding content and value to them. Image is everything. Of course, clever copy, keep it short, have a CTA, a call to action, and then hopefully some kind of lead capture tool where you're capturing their phone number, their email. This is really good for giveaways. One of the things that you could create a simple lead capture tool where they have to put their phone, email, and their name, obviously, in order to get, maybe to download an ebook or to get some kind of checklist or access to a webinar. Well, if you say you're going to text them the link, then that's going to highly increase the conversion of the phone numbers that you get to be accurate. So you could definitely use that to your advantage. Has anybody done anything like this that they'd like to share? Does anybody want to start using any of these? All right, planned posting. So you could definitely post, kind of at the fly. I would recommend planning it a little bit better and stuff, and especially looking at when you have the most audience in terms of your friends that are online, and then also when the most engagement is going on. There are platforms like Hootsuite and others where you can basically set it and forget it, and it'll post automatically for you. Just kind of on average, the best times to post are Monday through Friday, 1 to 4 p.m. Wednesdays at 3 p.m. I personally have always had really good luck on Sunday evenings. I feel like people are kind of winding down for the weekend. And then identifying a theme, which I already mentioned, mixing personal and professional. Ask engagement. So asking engaging questions. Liz just mentioned this. How many states have you lived in? Some other ideas, or I'm curious, what features would you like in your next home? These are going to build engagements where not only do you want to like and comment, but then start private conversations. So they say, I want a bigger kitchen. Awesome. What are some of the type of features that you would love to have in your dream kitchen? And that's just going to allow them to start dreaming and allow you to start striking up that conversation with them on a private level. How many states? Again, this is one that they don't really have to think about. That's pretty easy for them to answer. How old were you when you purchased your first home? And of course, when you do that, you're going to see all the comments start rolling in. So when the comments start rolling in, make sure you're engaging back with them. Like I said, it's really important to go ahead and like and comment back on every single post. Be yourself. Authenticity, can't speak today, sells. Oh, my brain must be on 4th of July weekend too. Don't let your profiles be all real estate. Guess what? Nobody cares. I say this because my social media platforms are full of real estate agents, which is great, but everybody's posting about the house that they just sold, that they're at closing, yada, yada, yada. Think about how you can do things that are different from what everybody else is doing. So learn how to connect with your potential client. Don't be afraid to be real. Clients will connect with you long before they ever use you as their agent. That's where I was talking earlier about branding and marketing, using things like short-term form content, using YouTube, for example, because they're Googling your name long before they ever reach out to you. If you've never done a property walkthrough on YouTube or on TikTok and they go and Google that and they see the next agent is actively on social media, they might move on to the next agent because they see that they're being more proactive. So show all aspects of your life, examples, family, travel, inspirational quotes, listings, classes, projects, commitments, etc. I would challenge everybody to go ahead and take, and I'm not gonna watch that you have to do this, but I'm challenging you to take a selfie right now in this class and post it on social media. Say you're taking a social media influencer class, how to sharpen your skills, broaden your marketing skills, allowing more exposure for your clients, something of that nature. ChatGPT could write a much better call to action than I can. But I'll give you guys just a minute. Take a selfie in front of your computer screen and post it, that while the rest of the world is out partying at the lake, you're sharpening your skills and taking a CE class. Go ahead and let me know in the chat once you've done that. Let's see, Liz, Tony, Tesh. Go ahead and put done once you've done that post. Just let me know that you're still here. You're sticking around with me. Dawn, awesome. Kenneth, great. All right, good stuff. All right, here's some examples of 10 thought-provoking questions that you can ask. What inspired you to buy your current home and what do you love most about it? So these are a little bit more thought-provoking, like I said, instead of those simple engaging questions. These are going to probably get less comments, but more engagement in terms of conversation starters. What advice would you give to a first-time home buyer just starting the process? What's your favorite thing about your neighborhood and why? Have you ever had an unexpected challenge during the home or selling process? How did you overcome it? If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be and why? By the way, that's a great one for referrals. What's the most important factor for you when choosing a real estate agent to work with? What do you think are the biggest mistakes people make when buying or selling a home? By the way, guys, these don't just have to be on your personal profile. You could definitely post these in Facebook groups as well, as long as it doesn't go against any admin rules. Do you have any tips for staging a home for sale to make it more appealing for potential home buyers? What's the most unique or interesting property you've ever seen or sold? What do you think sets the best real estate agents apart from the rest? Are there any of these? You can put just a number in the chat here. Which one is your favorite question? Just put the number in the chat. Three and five. Okay. So what's your favorite thing about your neighborhood and why? And then if you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be? Awesome. Love it. You guys all like number 3 and number 5. All right. So it is that time. We're going to take a quick 10-minute break. Actually, for simplicity, let's just plan on being here at 12:10. Oh no, that's 14 minutes. That's too long. Okay, let's 12:07. Let's take a quick 10-minute break. I'll stick around if anybody has any questions, but we'll take a 10-minute break. You will have to comment in the chat as soon as you're back to let me know that you're here.
Micah, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
All right, regarding the, you mentioned earlier, but the not to share a lot of business posts on your personal. So what would you recommend sharing from the business to the personal? Because, for example, I do have just listed, just sold, congratulations to my buyers, whatever. So I started putting the congratulations for closing, whatever, closing day, whatever. I'm putting it only on personal. I'm not putting it on the business page because nobody cares on the business page, I guess. I mean, I don't know. Any input on that?
Yeah, what I would do is actually post it on your business page and then share it to your personal page. So that way, if they, for those that want more information or are kind of curious, then now they can go and like your business page.
Everything?
Yeah, yeah. So like, for example, for us, because we obviously add agents to our team every single month, we used to post them on our timeline and it just started to become too much. So we started condensing it down and putting it into our stories instead of on the timeline. So it only lives on there for 24 hours. But in terms for you for like just sold or congratulations or anything like that, I would share on my business page first and then share that post to your personal page.
Okay. And one more question regarding the shorts. I don't use it very often, but I noticed that Hamoudi, he does a lot of those posts. So would you recommend that I would put, for example, congratulations and these kind of posts? Do you think it's better to put them on shorts so they can go away, or it's better to keep them there in case somebody wants to scroll down? They know I'm busy.
Yeah, no, on the stories, I think it's important to do a little bit of both, to be honest with you. So like Hamoudi and I try to post in our stories every single day. And like I said, the importance of that is also we can see who is engaging with our stories and who's not. So, as opposed to a post, you can't see who has liked it. You can only, or you can't see who has viewed it. You can only see who's liked it, right? But in stories, you can see not only who has looked at it, but who is continuing to go through all the different stories, right?
Okay.
And then it gives you an excuse to maybe private message them and strike up a conversation. So just so you know, and they'll be like, wow, I was just looking at your stories and all of a sudden you're messaging me now. So I would definitely do a little bit of both, to be honest. I think it's good to have a mix.
Okay, I noticed that you guys do stories. You personalize, like most of the personal posts, you put them on stories instead of like I don't see a lot of business posts or any kind of commercial post. Let's put it that way on stories. Is there a reason for that, or it's just like it's a coincidence?
Yeah, we try to, I have a rule of thumb, but it's hard, I don't follow this like to the T, but our rule of thumb is 3 to 1. So 3 personal posts and then 1 business related post.
Okay.
So again, that just allows people to build that rapport and that relationship and feel connected with us. I will meet people I've never even met before and they'll know my kids. They'll know my kids. They'll be like, oh, I just saw your son did a talent show last weekend, or I saw your
Right.
new puppy or whatever, whatever it is, right? I saw you just traveled. But when you do that, if you kind of follow that 3 to 1, then they don't feel like they're just being bombarded with business related posts and like, oh, Tony's traveling overseas. That's awesome. I want to follow him. I want to see what's going on.
Right. Well, I appreciate your help. I'm gonna let you take your 6 minutes left, a break, and all good information. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Anytime.
All right, thanks.
Okay, so Instagram, we talked briefly about how it's important to have a professional photo across all platforms. So instead of having a different photo on every individual platform, just have the same one for consistency. I showed you that bio on Facebook earlier. If you can have a similar bio also across every social media platform. Now, some of them do allow more characters than others, but if you can do something somewhat similar just to be easily identifiable, especially have on there that you're a realtor on Instagram. So have that, of course, put your little trademark R, but show that you're a real estate agent. More importantly, also, where do you work? So have the city that you work in And then how can they reach, now there's some limitations as far as characters and what you can post with links on Instagram. So if you've ever been on Instagram and somebody says link in bio, then they put the link in the bio, or they use what's called a link tree. So you can take this URL. That one's not connected to anything, but take that URL and basically combine different links into a link tree. It's free, or I think there's like a pretty small upgrade, but essentially if you go to linktr.ee, create a link tree, and then you could put, for example, a link to a buyer consultation recording, a link to your main website, a link to a home search, a link to all these different things so people can easily go and find what they want. And then of course, swipe up, you've got 10,000 followers. It says LinkedIn stories. That should say Instagram stories. I'll have to get with my assistant on that. But we talked about the difference between stories and a post. Is stories live on the website for 24 hours and then they delete, whereas a post basically lives on there. When you look at your Instagram, as a matter of fact, let me see if I could pop mine up here real quick. Let me see if I'll pull it up. Give me just 1 second, guys. I should have had this up during the break. All right, let's go back to the screen share. Okay, here we go. So here's my Instagram. Very similar to the information that I had on my Facebook. Same photo, same thing. They can click on my website, but then you've got these little icons where you can kind of categorize all of your content. And then what's cool about this is you could go to like Fiverr, Fiverr.com, and they have people that make these icons for you for like $5. So you could do that. And then like somebody clicks start here. I don't know if it'll do it on the desktop. Yeah. Oh.
Welcome to Puerto Rico. Go ahead and send me a direct message and introduce yourself. And I can't wait to get to know each other better.
So you can do, let's click out of that. Okay, so you could do like a little start here and then do some kind of introductory video and then categorize all your other content. When you look at your Instagram specifically, unlike Facebook, it should look almost like a magazine with some consistency in colors. You can see mine that has it's very consistent when it comes to like black and gold, right? So think about it as like an online magazine, if you will. Now there's a good mix of videos versus some Canva ads versus personal photos, right? So you can kind of see that. Does everybody kind of understand that? So this is your timeline, and then the stories are up here at the top. Now, this is my son yesterday. I took him to a little ocean festival, but these will only live on there for 24 hours. So this one's going to shut down in 1 hour. So these are your stories. That's the difference between your stories here at the top and then your actual timeline. Now, I wanted to show you guys something. Let's take this post, for example. So if you can see, we use different hashtags. You should use hashtags on Instagram. You can also click on view insights, but I'll kind of get into that a little bit later. But let's say I was going to post something. I usually do this from my phone, so I'm not used to maneuvering. That's not what I want to do. So I have, let's go here. Okay, I wanted to show you guys. You guys can see my chat, right? Can you see when I open the chat box? Anybody? Can you see when I open the chat? Yes, no, maybe so.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I have a quick text code on my computer that when I just type in hash, do you guys see how all those hashtags just popped up? So you could find the most trending hashtags in your area instead of having to copy and paste every single time. You could create a text shortcut and just call it whatever you want to, like I do, like I said, hash, and then I can add that to any of my posts. Just kind of a little quick hack to make your life a little bit easier. All right, let's go back to the presentation here. So you can add music to your stories. Like I said, if you can add some polls, people tend to engage with polls, and of course, videos. So time of day to post, you want to look at your insights. So Instagram does have insights where you can see where your particular friend audience, follower audience, what time of day that they look at it the most. Facebook, one of the things that you can do with Facebook is actually at the very top when it shows when people are on the little green dot, is you can try to check it several times a day and see when people are most actively on. We talked about using hyperlocal hashtags. So you could do some kind of text code like I just showed you and copy and paste your hashtags. It's meant to look like an online magazine. So I just showed you mine where it should have that consistency in types of colors and a variation of the engagement from I think this morning I posted a quote to images, to video, to stories, just do a little bit of everything. Hashtags, Instagram allows up to 30. You can add locations, especially when you're going to some local businesses, always tag the local businesses. That's going to help get you some engagement as well. One of the polls that you can do for those of you that have Instagram right now is ask, are you living in your dream house right now? Click yes or no. So I would encourage you guys, let's take a minute. If you have Instagram, does everybody know how to create a story? Create a story, put just like a stock photo of a house and ask the question, are you living in your dream house? And then put a poll, yes or no. I'll give you guys just a minute to do that. While you guys do that, I'm going to pull up this video. All right, so I'm going to show you guys this short video. If you're on your Instagram, this is just a video because I can't show you my phone obviously right now, of how you can pull up your insights. So here you can track demographics, ages, gender, location, and then of course, time of day of the week and time of day. Any questions before we move on from Instagram? All right. Who in here has used ChatGPT? Go ahead and put it in chat. I know some of you have because we've talked about it briefly in other classes. Go ahead and put yes or no if you know or have used ChatGPT. Okay, so it's about half and half yes and half no. So essentially ChatGPT is an AI, so artificial intelligence technology. It just rolled out to the public, I think in November of last year. So it is still fairly new. But it essentially is, I mean, it's incredible. It can do almost anything that you want it to. Let's see, I've got another comment here. So it's great for like social media content. If you're like, okay, I have a picture, but I don't know what to post. I don't know what call to action I should use. Or I need something, you know, for me, I'm such a high D personality that I can't sit down and write like this long, thought-provoking post. But I can give ChatGPT an idea and it will create something for me. So let me see if I can actually go back to my Instagram and give you guys an example. It's been a little while since I've used it on mine, but I want to see if I can find one for you. Okay, so here's an example. So we took this picture, sent it to our marketing assistant. She used ChatGPT. She created Canva to put this quote. And then, you know, just give the idea to ChatGPT and it can basically write this entire post for you. So this is just an example of one that you can do. You can do this in literally a matter of seconds. I think I had another one here that I could give you a quote. So again, here's another one. And believe it or not, yes, I do use it for even happy birthday post. All right. So some different ideas that you can use Chat GPT is not just your social media content, but also ideas for like YouTube, for example. You can say, what are the top 10 topics that home buyers are looking for right now? And it will give you 10 ideas. And then you could take one of those ideas and say, okay, write me a 7-minute YouTube script. It'll literally write you a 7-minute YouTube script. And then you can go in and adjust. I would always recommend thinking about Chat GPT is getting you 80% there. And then you need to go in and put like the other 20% just to add your own flair, your own touch, etc. And then you could take that 7-minute script and say, okay, write me a 15-second short form script for a reel, like a little plug. And then you can do the same thing. And it literally will rewrite it for you. So let me see if I actually have my Chat GPT open here. So if for those of you that haven't used Chat GPT, you can just Google it and then use openai.com. Let's log in here. I wasn't logged in. Okay, perfect. So let's say top 10 topics for a real estate YouTube video for home buyers. All right. What's your favorite one? You guys put in the chat. Which one of these 10 are your favorite? Liz and Tony said number 9. All right, 9's in the winning. Anybody else? All right, we're going to go with number 9. So let me move this out of the way. Okay. So I'm asking it to write a 5-minute YouTube script using that topic that it just gave me. All right, does it get much easier than this to write here? I mean, nobody has an excuse not to do YouTube content at this point. It's literally writing the script for you. And then you can go in and just add your flair, right? Awesome. So let's say, okay, condense the script to 5, why is that not 15 seconds? There you go. And now you have a little plugger that you can put into a story. For example, you could use this script, want to negotiate the best price for your dream home. Here are my top 10 tips. And you could say all this and then say, for more information, click the link below and have the link to your YouTube video. So the longer content on your Instagram story. Does that make sense? So you would have Instagram or Facebook Reels or TikTok or whatever. You would do this 10-second, 10-15-second plug. And then you could link the full YouTube video. Any questions around that? Any ahas?
Is this a free service, Micah, or is it like a yearly subscription? Or is it-
Absolutely. So the one I'm using right here, I'm showing you right now is free. Now they do have a premium upgrade for some different things that you can do, but it's for everything that I'm showing you right now is free.
Okay.
So somebody give me an address of a house that they just listed. Okay, let's just put this in here. 5200 Urban. What city is that in? Liz. Oklahoma City, okay, can you tell me like how many bedrooms, how many bath, maybe something specific?
Yeah, it's got 3 beds, 3.5 baths. 6,400 square feet, I think.
6,400 square, is there anything unique about the house?
Yeah, it's got a really nice pool. It's a real secluded lot with pond views and golf course views. I guess water views, whatever.
Right, so the more specific you can be, the better. So write a 3-sentence property description, okay. Because sometimes it just kind of goes all over the place. All right. I'm just showing you how you could use this for your property descriptions in your MLS or flyers or anything like that. Ah, load failed, why? There we go. That sound good to you, Liz?
Wow, yeah. that-
Oasis offers tranquil pond and picturesque golf course views complemented by a refreshing pool, perfect for luxurious living and entertaining, a true gem for those seeking an idyllic retreat in the heart of Oklahoma City.
Wow, okay.
How long would it have taken us to to write that? I don't know about you guys, but it would have taken me a while.
Long time. Mhm.
Right. So you could use this for just some ideas, obviously YouTube content, social media posts, property descriptions, drip campaigns. We've talked about those in the past as far as emails and texts going out, email newsletters. It's even writing our email newsletters right now. So there's all different kinds of things. I could even, let me show you guys a funny real quick. Right, the same property description in the tone of Kevin Hart. So you can even like have it change its tonality, which is kind of silly. So cool stuff. Any questions on Chat GPT and how it can make your life a lot easier? Oh, yep. Rakita said it helped her write her handwritten notes. Absolutely. Good stuff. All right. How much time do we got here? Okay, perfect. We're still good. So Facebook friends, add new friends every single day. And more importantly, as you add them, private message them. So actually, let me pull up that chat. So just as I showed you guys my text code for the hashtags, I also have a text code for people adding me on Facebook. And I literally type in FB ad. And that's what comes up. Hey, thanks for the ad. Looking forward to connecting. How's it going? And it just is kind of a conversation starter. So it's important when you have people that you add them on Facebook that you're starting conversations as well. Focus on comments, not just to build not just likes to build engagement. So like and comment back to people. Message to start building the relationship. Happy birthday videos. We talked about this a little bit last week. Don't just do the typical happy birthday post. Send private happy birthday videos. That's more memorable. Like, comment, and share. Lead with value. Automate systems for follow-up. Send personalized direct messages or even better audio messages and use their name so they know it's personalized. And then you have Facebook Reels, which is very similar to Instagram and TikTok. All right, be intentional. Don't go down the rabbit hole that we talked about earlier. Just like every other business strategy, we must be intentional. It's easy to go down the social media rabbit hole, building a Facebook friends list so you can only see the post on your news feed from the people that you want to engage with. So here's just kind of a screenshot of how you would do this. You would go to your Facebook profile, click on friends, and then that would pop up and you would create a list and you could title it Sphere of Influence or Sphere of Power, or whatever you want to title it. And that way, when you click on that list, it's just going to show you the news feed from people on that list instead of having to go through potentially hundreds or thousands of friends, right? Download Facebook and Facebook Messenger, but schedule times to post and comment. So I recommend having both of those on your mobile device. LinkedIn, build an online resume. Cover photo is incredibly important on LinkedIn. Your background history should be like an online resume. So every job that you've ever done, just take a few minutes to fill that out in your history on LinkedIn. We've already covered that 9 times out of 10, when somebody goes and Googles their name, LinkedIn is going to show up in the top 5 or 10 results. Having links to your other websites and then add connections and message them directly, especially if you're working with people maybe relocating from a specific industry or another area, then you can add those people. The difference with LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram is LinkedIn is allowed to be more on the professional side. It is a professional social media platform. So it's not a place really to post anything personal. It can be all business only. You really have the permission to be all business. And then for those of you like myself that want more kind of searchability, see who's looking at our profiles and have more engagement, then they do have, it's a paid service called Sales Navigator. It is an upgrade. I think it's like $1,000 a year, but it does allow you to do some specific searches and also see who's viewing your profile as well. YouTube obviously allows you to become an expert, a subject matter expert. Market a specific area, lead with value. Don't be afraid to go on the camera, get over yourself. It doesn't have to be perfect. There are statistics out there that people engage with content that is not professionally done more than they do with a professionally shot photo. So just anything from your phone, it just looks more authentic. Just have a good camera, which our phones these days pretty much do the job. Microphone, have good lighting, obviously, and let your energy shine. And then of course you can retarget Google leads also through YouTube. So right now, that's one of the things I'm working on with my team is we're generating Google leads. You can also retarget those Google leads using YouTube, given that they're owned by the same company. Cross advertise, use other social media platforms to cross advertise and build awareness. For example, you could have theme days. So you could do like, Take Down Tuesday, or like I do a Facebook Live every single Wednesday. It's called Winners Wednesday. You could do maybe if an investor is in your kind of wheelhouse and your ideal client, you could do like a foreclosure Fridays where you give update on foreclosure list, or motivational Mondays or whatever. So you can create theme days. The reason why you do theme days is it's the same day, same time, every single week where people know that they can come back for the same type of content. So you do, if you're going to do that, you want to be consistent with it. So here's a few ideas. I mentioned the foreclosure Friday, strategy Sunday, throwback Thursday, winning Wednesdays. Any other ideas on those beyond what we just shared? No. So photo editing. So we do a lot of graphics on our social media content, especially to have, like I said, just that common thread of like black and gold as the colors of our team and everything else. And we use Canva quite a bit. I think my assistant uses PicMonkey as well, but Canva does a really good job. It's, for the most part, it's free. We do have the paid service, which I think is like $12 a month, where there's some premium options, but there's a free option as well. So if you're not a Photoshop type of person like me, you can use Canva, or you can even hire out your graphics, like I said, using companies like Fiverr, Fiverr.com, and have somebody could make a series of graphics for you with, about $5 or less. Video editing, same thing. You can use softwares like iMovie. Canva has some video editing, or for those of you that are a little bit more pro, you can use Final Cut. If you don't have the time to video edit, which I would probably challenge you to not spend too much time in video editing, again, use somebody like Fiverr and just upload it and they can go in and edit the videos for you. Client testimonials. So this is huge, especially for social engagement and social accountability, is having video testimonials. So I would challenge everybody, instead of just posting when you go to closing and posting, a just sold sign or maybe a picture with your clients, when you're sitting down with them and you're waiting on the copies of the settlement statement, ask them if they would mind if you shoot a 10, it should not be more than 30 seconds long, 10, 20-second long video about what their experience is for you. Because what that does is allow and build social proof. Share your wins, your commitments, and your failures through social media. Allow others to follow the journey with you and go live with your clients at closing. So if they don't want to go live, like I said, you could record just a short video. Just kind of a pro tip, if you're going to do that, maybe give them a little bit of a heads up. That way they just, they're prepared. Not everybody's always prepared to go on camera. So that way that they expect that you're going to ask them that at closing. Does anybody use video testimonials from their clients right now? Is anybody going to start using them? Just checking the time here. Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to briefly go over this because we talked about this in the class last week. So the 10 by 10 formula, these are your daily activities. Do 10 posts to Craigslist every single day, 10 posts to Facebook groups and or marketplace. Like I said, it doesn't have to just be your listings. Just ask your broker if you have permission to sell other listings within your brokerage or agency. 10 sphere comments on Facebook. So going to your sphere of influence, going to your sphere of power and commenting. And it doesn't have to be just real estate related. As a matter of fact, it shouldn't be, but it's just a way for you to check in and stay top of mind. 10 industry specific connections on LinkedIn. So for example, if you're working with a certain industry that's moving from one state to the other, maybe they're moving to Oklahoma City or Tulsa or wherever you are, then start adding those industry members on LinkedIn and connecting with them. And then 10 outgoing check-in messages, emails or text. And what the check-in message is very simple. It's about 10 words or less. Subject line says checking in. And then it just says, hey, Tony, it's Micah, just checking in to see if you needed anything from me today. So it's short, simple. Again, it's not super thought-provoking and they can answer it pretty easily and simple. 10, so those were daily activities. Now your weekly activities is you're going to add 10 Facebook friends to your Facebook every single week, and then you're going to private message them. You're going to go sit down at a local coffee shop and start having conversations with some other people at the coffee shop. And one of the best ways that you can do that is just sit down at a table with your computer, put 20, 50, 100 bucks at the cashier, whatever you can, and say, hey, the next 10 coffees are on me. And what's going to happen is they're going to let them know that this is courtesy of you, and they're going to come and start having conversations with you. 10 door knocks at the open house. So if you do an open house, I would invite the neighbors, door knock 10 to the left, 10 houses to the right, and 10 across the street. Because we all know that neighbors are going to come anyway. So you might as well invite them, and better yet, invite them to a private viewing 30 minutes prior to the public open house. So that way they're not taking up your time when you should be dealing with actually potential consumers. 10 pop buys at local businesses. That one's pretty self-explanatory. And then 10 private happy birthday videos. If you can commit to personalized happy birthday videos, even better. If not, just do one that's evergreen that you can pretty much text it to anybody at any time. But that's going to stand out from everybody else that's just commenting and posting. So the biggest thing with social media is to know that they are watching. Social media is often not a quick return on investment or time. It does take patience and consistency. If you're going to commit to any one social media platform, I would recommend that you commit to it for a year, because you're not going to see results in 30 or 60 days. Don't get discouraged. They are watching. Even when people don't like or comment, believe me, they are watching. People love to silently follow others. They will reach out when the time is right. And think about social media more of your personal billboard. So with that said, I have my contact information. If you think of any questions, you're more than welcome to reach out to me. Here's my social media platforms that I focus on. And I will actually put in the chat my calendar link. Everybody's welcome. If you want to schedule a free 15-minute strategy session, you can go to my calendar link. With that said, I'm going to open it up for any questions.